Welcome to Style Masterclass, the podcast that teaches women to look stylish and feel confident so that they can show up ready to conquer and slay no matter what size they are. I'm your host, Miss J. You ready?
Welcome back to the Style Masterclass podcast. This week, we are going to talk about influence and impact. It is one of the 3 pillars at Maison Guitton, which officially will open its doors starting December 2024. But I want to talk about influence and impact because oftentimes I use the word legacy, and some of you are like, what the hell are you talking about? So I want to talk about legacy as broken down by these 2 terms, influence and impact. I think legacy is all about influence and impact over generations, over multiple periods of time, long into the future. But first, I think it's important to talk about what the differences between these 2 are and how to actually transform influence into impact. Because if we look around the world, especially in the world of social media, there are tons of influencers, right? People trying to affect your thoughts, your feelings, your buying decisions, more importantly, and to really get you to purchase things. They're trying to influence you by showing you how great something is and to plant that seed of a thought in your brain to get you to be like, oh, that thing does look fantastic, and to actually have you buy it. Right? And it is the first step in creating change, right? The idea that we're going to inspire someone or guide them in a particular way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to influence others. It's actually a powerful skill if you hone it in and you have it. Where influence alone stops short is that it's all about potential, right? We're guiding, we're inspiring, we're motivating, but not a whole lot of action is happening unless I've actually been successful at influencing you to take action. But that's kind of where the buck stops for me. If my whole goal is just to influence and inspire and motivate and say pretty words and tell you pretty things and show you all the pretty environments that I'm in without giving you substance, without transforming that influence into impact and change, and I'm talking about lasting change, the kind that goes on for generations, then I've almost done you a disservice and I've done myself a disservice because it never moved beyond just trying to influence you. I want you to think of someone who's trying to even promote financial literacy, which is super important, right? It might influence others to inspire them to learn more about financial independence. They might talk about how they paid off all their debt. They might even show you all the beautiful things they've purchased as a result. They might tell you their rags to riches story about how they used to live in a trailer and now live in this beautiful custom mansion and so on and so forth. And I love a good rags to riches story. In fact, I am a living one, right? And I know so many people who are. Those stories are fantastic. And they do serve a purpose to inspire, to motivate. But they don't really create a lot of impact in a lasting way unless somebody does something with all that inspiration and motivation. So to move that person who's talking about financial literacy and showing you all the things, to move from influence to impact, to actually start to create impact, that person might establish a scholarship program, start to invest in other women businesses, start to invest in financial literacy programs for young people, to provide free financial resources. Maybe they create a podcast so they can continue to educate and teach people. Maybe they provide free resources that you can download. They start a coaching series. They offer coaching programs. Over time, that influence, that look at all these things I have done, changes to here's how I'm going to impact generations to come by arming them with knowledge that they can go take action on. So that these women are actually achieving financial security and empowerment. So these women are actually going into the world to do the very thing that you've done that you're so excited to influence them, motivate them, and inspire them to go do themselves. So many of you are so passionate and you're very influential in your communities, in your families, in your professions, and your industries. But I know some of you want to move beyond just that success of influence to one of impact. So let's talk about how to move from that abstract inspiration into actual concrete action taking. And I think the first thing is important to clarify the vision and actually define the outcomes you want. Like, what specific change do you want to see? Define what success beyond just influence and having a great idea. What does that actually look like? So let's use, again, our example of someone promoting financial literacy, right? And I've seen this done actually really well by a lot of female content creators. And it's actually really, really inspiring to see. And I don't want to name names, but there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and I think she just does this fabulously. So clearly, what she has done is really try to get women to see, and she has a whole podcast series about creating, trust fund children. And at first, it's kind of jarring to hear that you're like, really, that's the goal. But no, what she's saying is teaching people who didn't have anything created for them how to create those things for their children in the future, how to start saving early, all the different types of accounts that are available to you, how to use your business influence to generate the funds to create these accounts and these safety nets, so to speak, for your children in the future. And it's very specific, right? She knows how she's going to use her influence on social to create actual change, help people save money for their children. And one of the challenges that she runs is talking about saving $100,000. Let's save $100,000. And that seems like a huge number. But then I look at her community and she shares the numbers of how much they've saved. They're well into the multi-millions. So what's so cool about that is she's actually very specific about the vision. She's defined the outcome, and she gives actual actionable steps to achieve that milestone, right? So we want to be clear. We want to define what outcome it is we want. The second thing is let's focus on actual action taking. I know I love a pretty picture. I often forget to take pictures actually, but I love looking at other folks' pictures. And, influence often happens through words, through picture taking, by picture dropping and showing products and unboxing, right? But I want you to really think, if we have a clear vision and we've defined the outcome of where we want to take that influence to make impact, then let's talk about what actions we can give to others in different formats to help them take their first step. What was your first step? Let's take an example from me. When I sat on my bed, my first interview during law school for the district attorney's office, and I realized I had gained so much weight, I didn't even have underwear that fit me. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. So where did I start? I started with my underwear drawer. I don't have a panty obsession because I'm a weirdo, but no, I know that's a tangible place I can give you to get started. It's something you could do today with low cost barrier to entry. It's something that could have a massive impact on your self-esteem. It's a great place to start, and I can give you action steps. In fact, I have a whole guide called Bye Bye Janky Undies. You can get it at judithgaton.com/undies to get started today. I'm not just giving you words and waxing poetic about panties and underwear, chonies, thuntarans. No, I'm telling you how you can actually begin. The third thing is tools and resources. This is something that really hit home for me in terms of the idea of wealth and being much more expansive in my definition of wealth. That wealth wasn't just money in the bank account, the stuff, the physical stuff you leave behind. No, wealth was actually resources, knowledge, experience, networks. There's wealth in that in a very, very expansive view. Sometimes the way to move from influence to actual impact is to connect people with each other. That there's tools and resources and human capital that you might have available to you that you could introduce someone to. Now, obviously, use wisdom when doing this. There's some folks that you really don't want involved in your network because they're predatory. Like, I want you to exercise wisdom there. But that is a way from moving from influence to impact. Stop waxing poetic about putting people in front of the people who do X, Y, Z. I sent out 2 introductory emails this week. Hey, so-and-so is looking for this. You do this beautifully. I'll let you 2 take it from here. And it's two people I know absolutely could benefit each other. And I'm so serious about this that one of the things we're going to start doing in Maison Guiton, one of our quarterly calls that we're going to dedicate to, is a networking call. What are you working on? Who here has tools, resources, experience with this that we can help this person who's on the hot seat? 4, actually set goals and track them, right? Make this measurable. How many janky undies guides do I want people to download? How many women do I want to get these undies guides in the hands of? I would love to have 1 million women go through the Bye Bye Janky Undies guide. Get rid of their janky undies, buy new ones that fit them, because I know that if I have 1,000 women who are impacted this way, they'll go help 3 women, if not more. And the ripple effect on that in the world is exponential. It's geometric math, baby. It's exciting. So let's actually set some measurable goals around this. Once we've clarified the vision and defined the outcome we want, we focus on actually taking action. Empowering others with tools and resources. Let's make it measurable. Let's track it. And 5, encourage continued growth and evolution. Encourage it in yourself. Model for others what that looks like. Realize that just by you being you and sharing what you're up to, it creates a ripple effect that you may not even fully understand yet. I recently had an event in Chicago. And the last hour, unintentionally, I will say this on purpose, was spent talking about me. And I normally am very careful in live events, teaching, to not center myself. I don't like it when other people do it. I'm here to learn. I'm here to apply it to myself. I don't want you to wax poetic about something that happened with your mama 25 million years ago. And I know that sounds really rude, and y'all have all kinds of stories about me and my family, my mama, but I do it very intentionally to bring it back to the client, which I will do in a second here. And what was so interesting is a lovely client of mine, CM, shout out to you, boo-boo. She says to me, well, what are you working on? And I asked the room, I said, look, I would love to answer her question, but if she's the only one who's interested, I can chat with her privately after today's session is over, and we'll just continue coaching. And what was so surprising to me is everyone in the room sort of leaned forward. There were a lot of raised hands. They're like, no, we want to hear. What are you working on? How are you applying these coaching concepts that I had taught to them that day to yourself? And I have to say, for a moment, I was a little emotional. I got super choked up because I was not expecting that. And it really, really underlined for me that the people are watching. The humans around you that you've gathered through whatever means you've gathered them, that you've influenced them in some way, you are having an impact just by being you, by sharing the experience and knowledge and skills and wisdom that you have. That just by gathering people together in that beautiful space, these intelligent women who were all working on a myriad of different things at the time, just by putting them in that room, I was having impact. And by being vulnerable and sharing with them where I was in my own coaching journey, what I was working on, that it was having an actual lasting impact on them. And I was demonstrating for them what it actually looked like to apply this work. So I want to encourage you to be invested in showing up as yourself, showing up as yourself and modeling for other people what that actually looks like. Modeling for them what it means to not just talk about it, but to be about it. What it means to actually walk like the duck you've been quacking as. I love all of those. I just think it's such a funny way to turn a phrase for both of those. But really, to model and show people, right? We talked about being a boldness mentor. We had a whole workshop on this last year, and that'll also be moved into the Maison Guiton portal, and it was really powerful. Be a boldness mentor. Show the other folks how to get it done. So what I want to encourage you all to do, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to transform wherever you're really influential into actual impact. How can you make it tangible? Now, I'm going to give you some ideas from different areas of my life. Now, I gave you obviously the financial literacy example. I gave you the Janky Undies guide example, but I'll give you one from my legal work. I recently won an appeal. I'm just going to phrase it that way. And the opinion came back from the higher courts, adopting a lot of the arguments I had raised, and also teaching something really important, a very important principle. And my managing partner and I were talking about it. And I said, the underlying issue wasn't that important, but part of what's in that opinion that came back from the higher court is actually really important. And when he sent it out to the younger attorneys, he broke it down for them as to why this was important to read. We weren't just influencing them. Look at this. I'm so great. I won this appeal and now it's this published opinion and I'm so amazing. No, this is a teachable moment, right? Converting influence into impact. Here are the key things you need to look at. Here are the key takeaways from this. Here's how to practically apply it to your own practice. Now they're impacted. They will show up differently to their practice as a result of this. So many of you are publishing papers, doing important research, holding symposiums, doing grand rounds, all the different things that you do. I just had a client who came back and gave a legal talk on estate planning, right? They're doing more than just influencing. They're having impact. And a lot of you might be in that influence stage and you're like, I don't know how to convert this to impact. I gave you a ton of ideas today. Now it's your turn to take it and run with it, to turn that influence into impact. That is your mission should you choose to accept it. I'm going to go over the key points again briefly so we can summarize here. Make sure you have a clear vision and defined outcome. We don't want just you giving words to people. How can you make it actionable, tangible, guides, things that they can go do? Give actionable guidance. What tools and resources do you have available that you can introduce each other and other folks to? Make available to other folks. Can we make this measurable? How many people do I want to get this actionable guidance into the hands of? And how am I going to commit to continued growth and evolution? To model for others what influence and impact looks like. I can't wait to see what you'll create. If this podcast had some impact on you, I highly recommend you leave us a review, share it with somebody you love, would be impacted by it, or leave us a note because we read them all and we cherish every single one. I'm so excited to see what you'll do in this world. This is going to be a central pillar, a tenant, mainstay inside of Maison Guitton. And if you want to learn more about what's happening with Maison Guitton as the doors open soon, definitely get on our newsletter list. All right, for now, until next week, Judith Guitton here, signing out.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. To learn more about how to work with me, go to judithguitton.com. Click on the Start Here button to get access to my free personal style class. I give you a quick style win, a confidence boost, and you walk away with the tools to start getting stylish. Who doesn't love that? See you there. Miss J out.